come up and see it. I'm gonna get over here in the middle where somebody can see it. Maybe I'll hold it up here. Y'all see that back in the back enough? All right, this right here is Highway 19 going north, Zebulon right here. This right here is Jugtown Road going north over into Lamar County, right there. All right, the little road, the Stewart Road, Shepherd Road I'm talking about, comes right into there till it gets to the county line, up Pike County lines right there. When it gets there, it starts Stewart Road and it runs into Jugtown Road, and this is Bishop Road right there. This is Potato Creek coming down through here. All right, the first place that I've got on this thing right here, and I got a glossary on there, that's Andrew Bishop. That's one of the sons, way on down the list over here. I think he must have moved on over there, probably 2 miles from the rest of them, 3 miles from them. He is 8/10 of a mile north of the county line on Jugtown Road on the left. It's 2 modular homes there today where that is, but Ms. Gooden said that's exactly where Andrew made pottery. It had a kiln there at that particular place. All right. Number 2 is right there at the corner of Gooden Road and Jugtown Road. That was Rufus Rogers and his daddy before him, and that's what they moved from there up to Meansville up there. But number 2 is right there on Jugtown Road on the west side of Jugtown Road. Number 3, I got it on here, but I've been informed tonight that ain't probably right. It ought to be on the other side of the road right there on Bishop Road. If you're going Jugtown Road and turning right on Bishop, it should be right behind Pritchett Memorial Church on Bishop Road. I have seen no signs, but I did know that there's a big old set of trees down there. It would have been a house place, and Brenda thinks that's probably where it was. Okay. So down to number 6 right there below that, that's what I think was the J.W. Salter, where he moved from up here and ended up down there with a shop or a kiln or whatever. But I think that's what, that's on the on the east side of Jugtown Road before you get to Pritchett Memorial. Now all the rest of this plan over in here was Bishops and Browns over in this and Brumbelows. Number 7 right there at the end between Brown Road and Shepherd Road in there was the Brumbelows. They have their own kiln, and I think I'm gonna find that next week when Gary says he's found one that's up there, and he's gonna show me where it is. He walked to it the other day, and the man said he don't care if we go back. So we're gonna go back and check that. I've never seen that kiln right there on that one, I don't think. Okay, number 7 is that one. Number 14 and 15, 14 is that house I showed you a while ago, the real pretty picture of the log house is right there at the corner of Shepherd and Branham Road. The kiln of J.A. Bishop is across the road on Branham Road in the corner of Branham and Shepherd. Okay? Then the house I was telling you about that Robin and them on one time is way back in here, and that's the Brown home house, the log house still back in there, original to this era. And number 8 right there is the kiln of W.D. Bishop in his home place, William Davis Bishop, 1861 to 1943. And right up to his left, right off of 19, you can see his house, that right there from Highway 19, was Curtis Bishop Sr. and Curtis Bishop Jr. lived in that house. Then on up here 10, just on the east side of Highway 19, over the mountain, going down the hill, was J.F. Key. He's the guy who helped F.R. Rogers build Fairview School in there. And he lived in there, and I understand he had a store across the road, and I remember an old store building, the little bitty thing. I mean, I didn't turn around in hardly, but it was a little building across there was a store on the west side of US 19, right along in there. So you're going up a little further, and that was the Brown clan. I don't believe there was ever a kiln. I don't believe there was ever anything. It might have been a shop over there, but I don't believe they would haul that mud from here all the way over there. I think most of them Browns were born here, and they come down here to work with the other families, and then most of them went north to Atlanta and worked in Atlanta. I think there were about 17 Browns that worked in the Atlanta pottery business. So that I went and drew the blue circle around it. And if you want my idea, I never did know what Jugtown was. Well, that's my idea of Jugtown, is right there. That's the best I can come up with, is that right there. So now I'd like to bring Phil Harris, come up here and explain these things. He said, Phil says he got these from who now? They are signed now, S.R. Rogers, and they're just as neat as they can be. And they don't have, and that would have been an Albany slip on that one, I guess, but that one's not right there. But I don't know, they're very unique. You tell them.
Actually, they belong to my brother-in-law, Stanley Waller, who was a collector of everything. He was married to my sister.
I must be kin to it.
She died in '03, and he's had 2 strokes and fell and broke a hip. He's in a nursing home now. But these 2 items was in his collection. Now this item, Billy Mallory and I were big buddies back in the late 40s and early 50s. We hunted together, fished together, and double dated together. One day we passed the Rogers place, and they had a board sitting out there with a lot of jugs and stuff. And we stopped and got one. We was going to learn how to blow a jug. We never did. But anyway, I think it was either a quarter or 35 cents.
35 cents, what I saw.
Yeah, but that's where this came from. But that's all I know about the 2 ring jugs there. There's no telling where they come from or when.
But the S.R. Rogers, so it's got to been between 1853 and 1954. So I would say that they were probably closer to the 1954 because they are more decorative. Okay, they're not stoneware like the rest of this is, like in the turn of the century. I think it'd probably be more in the late 30s or 40s, somewhere along in there that he made those. Okay, the next one. Which one of y'all want to come up here and talk? Bonnie, come on.
My sister is she's the artist, she's the historian. And I'm going to tell you a couple about this. This is the only jug I've seen with 3 X's on it. I got this at Sweetie's Flea Market in the 70s, and the story is that my grandfather made a little whiskey. He put it in a jug he made. He'd bury it under some flowers that my grandmother liked, and in the spring when the flowers came up, he'd know where his whiskey was. This is the only jug I've seen like that. And this one, my father, when my sister, June Bishop, who is she's a little bit shy, but, and I am too, but I force myself not to be. This has my father's initials on it, and this also has my great-grandfather's initials on it. And the story is that W.D. Bishop was sometimes very harsh, and if the younger folks were helping him make pottery, and they made a mistake, and you see this is slumped, they had to also put their initials on it. So my father's initials are on this. And this was found in an antique store in LaGrange by my cousin who gave it to me. This one is, my grandfather made this, C.G. Bishop made this, and has Amsey on it, which is my grandmother's name, which is just really wonderful that we found this piece. And we think that he made one with every child's name on it, because I found one with Fred on it, who is, my father Hugh was the oldest, and Fred was the next oldest. This I have to show you, like I said, my sister is very modest. This is a piece that she made. We decided we would carry on the Bishop name. This is a piece, this is a 3-faced jug that she made. And look what an artist she is. And she's got a chart that she developed. And Burris interviewed her when he was doing his
Bishop family tree.
And it tells who everybody was married to.
Right.
This is another one of her pieces, and it's got a snake on it. So, I mean, she's really an artist. Now, she's telling everybody I have Alzheimer's because I am the folk potter. My stuff is ugly. This is Johnny Reb. And when I was making this, it was a picture that just got out of hand, and I decided to call it Johnny Reb. And she said, you need to give it to somebody who'll mean something to, so I gave it to her. And this is, when we first started out doing jugs, these are my little moonshine jugs. And she did a ring jug, too. Marie Rogers taught her how to do a ring jug, and I really do wish that we'd had it fired so she could have brought it. But this is Ma and Pa. These are buggy jugs, and they used to put some refreshments under the buggy seat when they were traveling, and that's about as high as my jugs get. But this is a Ma and Pa. There's 2 people on it. And this is a beautiful picture that she did. My sister did this. So now we're trying to carry on the Bishop name.
What do you?
Bonnie lives in halfway between here and Griffin, just on the other side of the children's home.
Right, I live on Auburn Road.
And then where does,
June lives on Old Zebulon Road.
oh, Zebulon Road.
But what's really great too is her initials are J.D. Bishop, so she'll have the same with one of our ancestors.
Where do you get your clay?
We buy it. we go up to, where do we get it?
It's Lizella clay.
Lizella clay, yeah, that's what we do. And we have our own kilns at the house. They're not kick wheels, but we went over to Gordon, we were gonna learn how to pot over there, and he told us that, and he was a wonderful man, but he said, you girls are not interested in doing what I want you to do. You're interested in doing old-time pottery, so we never went back. Anyway. And we're Sisters in Clay. We did call Mr. Burrison to see if we could take the name Sisters in Clay because we thought we didn't want to infringe on his Brothers in Clay title, and he gave us permission to do that. So we're Sisters in Clay at AOL.com.
Are there any questions? I knew Gary would have one.
How about the, you say, you keep telling you know who made these things. Is
Everything in here has,
sign.
everything in there's got a name on it. Everything across here has a name on it. This one does not, and these do not. This one does, but the rest of them don't. But I'm telling you, everything in here has a name stamped on it. They were put in there when they were made.
So they obviously felt very strongly about their pottery to put
Yeah.
that name on it.
Right, right. But that's something that started well in Edgefield, or really farther on north, probably way up in the north part before they ever came in. They were signing the pottery up there too. But like Edgefield, everything in Edgefield was signed along that. That one's not, but most all of them are. At least they have a telltale evidence as to who made it on there. A lot of these right here, it's hard to distinguish one from the other one on that if they had not put the name on it. I don't believe I could tell you who made it had they not signed them. And that's the difference. But when I started collecting, I collected everything I thought was Jugtown pottery. And what I went by is I picked that thing up and looked. If I bought this thing in Zebulon and it had a red bottom on it, I'd say that's pretty close to Jugtown. The only red mud that made pottery was probably Jugtown, is Atlanta. The people who moved to Atlanta, which was on the other side of Atlanta, Howell Mill, up in that area is where they made it at, on Chattahoochee, up in that. But theirs was fairly red, but it's really a different color red from what ours were. And then they saw them in Alabama. Now, if I found one over in Columbus, I might not know whether it was Upson County, Pike County, or Alabama. But if you find one here in a 20, 30 mile radius here, you're going to pretty well know that thing was made here in the pottery in Upson, Pike County. And all my life I've been, I don't know, I'm guilty of this, of saying that Jugtown was in Upson County. Okay, Jugtown Road's in Upson County, but Jugtown was really, more of it I believe was made in Pike. Way more of it was made in Pike than it was made in Upson County. So we call it, now I'm calling it Upson Pike, or Pike Upson. Okay.
I have to say something about that too. Bishop Road was supposed to be where Shepherd Road is, because that's where the bishops settled. And Shepherd Road was supposed to be in Upson County, Bishop Road was supposed to be in Pike County. But when they put the signs up, they made a mistake. So, and it's never changed.
And another thing about this, when I started this thing off talking about that little projection up there that Biggins owned up there where Biggins lived, the maps slam up. I got one here in 1975, a state of Georgia map that ain't got it right. And I got one about 60s that still don't even have it on there. So John Hallman found it in 56 and got them to do it. So, but they didn't change the maps no more. The 75 don't have the 50 acres on it. It's got the 130 showing on it. But they state of Georgia maps that was put out. So that's what I'm saying is. They've got a few things up there, and it might then cause all these jugs. I don't know.
You reckon there's anybody here that might remember the little potter that was out this side of Potato Creek on the right coming to town? I've talked to you about it. I've always stopped with my kids to, I call it, letting them know.
That was on the Woodland Road.
That's right.
Woodland Road on this side of Potato Creek.
Right along there, the best I remember, somewhere where the Woodalls, I believe, used to have a little airport that they flew a little plane.
Yeah, that's on top of that level.
They made a little.
Anybody remember any potter right that way?
a vase like that, a little jug, and gave it to my daughter, and we kept it for years, and my wife was cleaning one day and just happened to brush it off and broke it.
Yeah.
But
That
it
happens.
was definitely there.
That happens, I've lost a few $100 out of it. But, is there any more questions? Yes, ma'am.
How frequent is it that the jugs are signed? Are most jugs signed, or is jugs signed
No.
after a certain time
No,
period, or?
not most of them. I would say I find more that's unsigned than I do that are signed. And I made that mistake way back when 25 years ago when I started collecting this. I bought any of them that I saw that I thought was Jugtown. I've quit that. I'm gonna only buy one that's got the signature on it. Can't go wrong with that one. We know who made it. We know when, that'll give you a 30-year span or so in there. You know when it was made, so you got a little documentation to it if you signed. The rarest thing I told you of any of them that we got there is this Brumbelow piece right here, because I only know of 4 Brumbelow pieces that's signed. They may be I know they probably made thousands of pieces, but Bonnie and them has a piece, Raphael Brumbelow has a piece, and they know somebody else has got a piece. And this piece right here that's at the Historical Society House, that's the only 4 pieces I know of. I imagine some of them $1 million collectors has probably got some of them somewhere along the line that they found way back in the early days. But I don't know. You can't buy one. You can't find it. It's not out there. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
How about the lopsided jug there?
The lopsided one, that's what she said, that it had probably set something on it. It was heavy when it was in the kiln, and she said he made her put a daddy's name on that thing instead of WD, he put his initials on that, HB. But they probably had one of them ring things sitting on there, and it was not dry enough when they put it in there, and the weight of it probably mashed it down. If I had to guess, that's what I would say happened to it right there, because they did stack these jugs by putting they put a ring. They made a piece that would just fit right over that ring, all the way around that thing like that. Then they set another piece of jug on top of that piece, and that's what they call stack of jugs. These right here, that's too big. Man, I need one small. Let's try this one over here. I've been going to chiropractor 3 weeks, ain't nothing. This right here is a kind that you can't stack. They just sit them in there, one down the board, down the line in there to glaze. If they had them kind right yonder that were smaller, they might get 400 to 600 of those. They might not get but 200 of these, and that probably may not have been 175. But that is what that stack of jugs, why they got them little things, and I would bet money that they set a heavy one on top of it, or set one on top of it, and it mashed it down before it was dry enough to put in the kiln. Yes, sir.
Why did they put different size handles or different looking handles?
That was the individual, his taste. That was, I would say that every potter made his own style. I mean, every handle he made in everybody would be the same handle, but it would just be his. It wouldn't be just like nobody else's. And if we knew all of that, if we could trace it back and found enough of it, we could probably get some characteristics to identify this unmarked pottery that I have in there. If we knew all the characteristics of what J.A. Bishop did, or what T.V. Gordy did, or what Rogers did, we could probably tell by this comes straight out right there, straight down. And some of them is just really like this one right here, is just curved. If we knew the whole characteristics of hundreds and hundreds of pieces of it, we could probably get something in there that would tell us who some of those other pieces were. But everybody had his own style. The glaze is different on them. I mean, the same man might have had a different colored glaze of his own, because he didn't mix it up the same way. He might have that stuff come from New York down here. He might have put 4 pound in there instead of 3 when he got through with that XXX jug over there. He didn't get it exactly right, you know.
So what I was asking though is these one's got, you can put your finger through, the other one you got a cup it.
Right, but it was that specifically person's taste. And he was probably,
It might be his skill. It'd take more skill to do that handle like that than it would just dab a little bit on there and do it with your fingers, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
But the big pieces,
I don't have no idea.
the churn has the handle where you could hold it with your hand, not
Yep.
just a finger.
But see, those got one of them, they're different.
Yeah.
One on one side, one on the other side is different.
This one's got a handle and a little lip
But
like
you had to
that.
pick it up.
But see, that's all, this one right here is the same as that one. It's got the handle and the little lip on it to pick it up. That's a Bishop piece, and this is the Brummel logo. So I don't know, it was just up to the individual. I mean, they was probably, I'll guarantee you, they ain't dropping the bucket there. They was hundreds and hundreds of people that come through here, might have stayed 2 months and made pottery for one of these people around here, and moved on. Alabama, Texas, Mississippi, somewhere else. Rode that horse on out, down the road. Yes, sir.
With the tombstone there, can the lady give us any background without incriminating herself, Your Honor?
No, I don't think it,
It came off my granddaddy. This was my granddaddy's first wife. I found an article when I was doing research on our family that said they was riding around in a buggy on Christmas Day and went up to the preacher so-and-so's house and got married. Well, and she died in childbirth. Some of you may know Aubrey Stewart, Charlie May and Aubrey Stewart. Well, Aubrey Stewart was her son, and she died when he was born. A year later, almost to the day, he married again, and they had a child that lived exactly 3 months and died, and I guess they presumed it was like crib death now. They don't know why he died. But anyway, then my daddy was born. So this was my granddaddy's first wife. And this has been at Shiloh Cemetery ever since she died. And when Jimmy told us about how valuable it was, we decided we needed to have a grave marker made and take this off and preserve it. So that's what we've done. We've just done it this past year. So it's been there almost.
Everybody does that now. I mean, everybody that's got a match on there, everybody gets that marker off of that now because somebody's it's gonna be gone from the family. At least it's back in it's in the family. And they marked the graves back. They ain't just took them away and they lost. They replaced them. But that's what most everybody across throughout the state. These things were made. Everybody around every potter down in Crawford County, there was a world of them made down there. Everybody down there. That was the brokest bunch of potters in the world. They wasn't even good for. They didn't have no dirt to farm down there. It wasn't even fit to farm. They just made pottery. You know, at least Jugtown people farmed for a living. That was really their basics was farming to make ends meet for the family. But they made pottery on the side, and that's what I said in that thing. It was like a windfall profit to them because that was extra money besides them making a living for the farm. Probably most of them bought moonshine with whatever. But
You mentioned that bad dirt in Crawford County, it's sand down there. How do they make clay? You can get clay out of sand.
In Crawford County, yeah, it was one place, and it's right down close. It's on Highway 80, right off of Highway 80, near the Bibb County line, down there. And there was good clay down there. And it's a gray looking dirt on there, but it worked. It would stick together, but it ain't red. You know, the bottom of it ain't red in there. I had one more thing there that I found that it just puzzled me to death. My two girls back here don't know why either, so we're gonna try to find out. When I was up on Shepherd Road looking at the Bishop Kiln and where the Bishop house was, the old house that I showed you up there, he said, Mr. Kendrick told me, he said, they just 1,000 pieces laying out there in the yard. We'll go out there and find some. And I went out there and I was walking around and I found that piece right there. Well, that looks just like this stuff right here. I said, yeah, that's it right there. Then I found 3 or 4 pieces that looked like it's green. That stuff is just exactly like the stuff that almost like this stuff that comes from Edgefield, what I'm saying. And my thinking now is, we didn't have that Albany slip stuff to do all of them with until after the Civil War. I'm saying this was probably what it looked like before the Civil War, way back when 1830, when they started up there. I think it was probably green, but I have never ever seen a piece of pottery green signed with one of them guys on them charts. I've never found that with a name on it. But they just just got boo-coos of it, and I can't figure it out. I don't know why. I'm hoping one day I'll run into John Burson. I think he's probably the authority on it, and see if he can't shed some light on why that stuff's laying out there in the yard up there when I didn't know they made it. I mean, I didn't know they made matter of fact, the dirt don't look like ours. If they made that, they dug it over there where Mr. Kendrick told me they did, because that dirt's as gray as it can be over there in his backyard. And if they did, they dug it right there. But the holes just wasn't deep enough, and it just looked like a gully to me. Okay, I mean,
Jimmy, what would cause it to be green like that? What glaze?
The glaze, it was alkaline. It was
Alkaline would make it green.
Ashes, ashes and lime, and 2 or 3 other things that they had in there that made it. But that was homemade. They had to work like ridiculous to get that stuff made, because they started from scratch and made everything that was around the house. That had to make their own glaze to go on it, until that stuff started coming down to get that stuff from New York.
Mr. Jimmy, down in Harvey Green's place, there's a bank down there that's got layers of history. The state now has passed a law that you can't pick none of that stuff up. But I used to float down there with my children, and we found pieces of pottery in that bank. And she carried it over to Carroll when she was going to college, and they said that was Indian pottery.
Right, there's a lot of Indian pottery down there, and a lot of it's been picked up and gone. That law is in Atlanta, Georgia. That pottery is way down there, 10 miles from nowhere.
We didn't see no sheriff down there.
They ain't. If somebody sees that piece of pottery down there, I don't think they're gonna call the state capitol up there and say, "Oh, there's a piece down here, y'all need to come see about this." No, they're gonna pick it up and take it home with them. I know where a lot of, matter of fact, we see it. If y'all will come to, when is it, June the 9th. June the 9th, we have an artifact day, the Historical Society do, when the people comes in, they coming back this year, June the 9th, and you bring your Indian artifacts or any kind of unusual rocks and stuff, and they'll tell you how old it is, what it is, and what you need to do with it. If you need to throw it away or keep it, okay? So, but they'll be here then, but they got a lot of that Indian pottery that comes into here that day, and they'll see it and tell all about it. Anything else?
I'd like to make a comment. I never knew anything about pottery before yesterday. And I went to a thing in Macon called Just Fired Up. And
I got the paper right here. I was going for the weeks out. I didn't know about it. My wife called me this morning.
well, I went yesterday and I had some pieces handed down by my mother, 4 pieces, and I took them over there, and they were astounding. They're all Edgefield County, of course,
Edgefield?
Yeah.
And not the best place in
in
Macon.
1977, but my mother was
Macon paper.
Edgefield County,
Today.
everybody's so strong.
It's Central City Park, which is not the best place in Macon to be.
But she
Did you
gave
put a
me
price
down-
on it?
Huh?
Did you put a price on any of them?
Yeah, 1,500, 2,000.
Okay.
One of them's broken, it's got the top of it's broken out,
Yeah.
and, I said it was only worth 1,000.
Broken. That's what I'm telling you. You know, our broken stuff here in Jugtown is probably worth $30 or $40. If it's got a big crack on it or a big broken space, if it's got a name on it, that's stamped on it, you may get 60 for it, 65.
None of mine are signed.
None of them signed. I know, but that's what I'm saying. Most of the Edgefield wasn't, but they got a characteristic on it that they know who made it.
The lady over there, I don't remember her name, she was from North Carolina, but she was supposed to be a southern expert on pottery. And, she said it was made by a slave named Mills.
wasn't Dave,
What day?
but it made pottery for a mill?
The slave name was Mills.
Miles.
Maybe it was mine.
Miles.
Maybe it was.
That was the slave owner. He's the owned the pottery. But Dave the slave worked for him. And I got a little story I told these girls today. One of my good friend of mine was the man that run the old store, hardware store in Barnesville on the corner. It was the buggy shop, the thing on the corner. Roger Brown. I went over there one day and I bought that Brumlow piece from Roger Brown. And he was telling me this story. He says that he had a piece, and I'm telling you, this was back in the early, middle 90s. He had a piece sitting on his front porch. Had some old flowers, stuff stuck in that thing on the front porch.
Mine was painted.
Somebody stole it. Didn't know where it just disappeared. He didn't pay it no attention. He didn't know. So one day John Burson was down there. Matter of fact, I think that book, no, this is at home. I got a book that he signed, John Burson signed it for Roger over there. But anyway, John Burson was over there at Mr. Rogers' store. And he was telling him, he said, somebody stole my piece of pottery off the front porch and said it had some words around it. He told him what some of the words were on the thing. John Burson knows everybody in the world that does anything with pottery. He told everybody he knew about the piece being stolen because he knew it was Dave the slave. Found it in South Florida. South Florida. A man bought it at a flea market down there for a little bit of nothing. No, he didn't. He paid $7,000 for it. That's what he paid. He paid $7,000 for that piece of pottery. He called Mr. Rogers and he said, I know that piece of pottery is yours. I'm going to deliver it to you. I'm coming to Atlanta next month and I'll bring it back to you. He come and set it right back in his house in there, and Roger never knew that it would work. He decided, he said, well, if it's worth all that, I'm going to sell it. There's a lawyer over in Columbus named Woodall, and there's a lawyer in Atlanta named somebody else. He got him in a bidding war. He started off at about $10,000. He ended up, he sold it to Woodall for $25,000. And the man brought it back to him. That's an honest fellow. And that's a story. And you got a David slave? I shouldn't have told you about the $25,000. If you got a David.
A lot of pieces in the family.
Negotiate.
I don't know about it. I don't think it's signed or not.
Where are you from? You from Upson here?
I moved here in '77.
77. Okay. I'm interested. Don't you come by and tell me who you are. I'm gonna come and get your piece. I promise. I'm honest. Okay, I'm an honest person. You want to go get it if you don't mind? If it's in, you say it's in your car. Well, Brian, you got that David slave?
I only got.
He's afraid to
I bought
say.
3 of them.
But is it the one that's got that, that he said it was Miles?
Yeah, but it's not signed or anything. It isn't broken.
It ain't got no writing around it?
No,
It ain't got an M on it, nowhere?
not that I can find. It's got a 5 on it for 5 gallons, you know.
It didn't have an M on it if it was Miles.
I
I
don't
believe.
know. That's what she told
Well,
me.
anyway, I mean, that man was the expert. That man was the expert. I don't know. I can't compete. I don't know the Edgefield. I just know that that's a fine piece right there. And I know that Dave the slave.
My granddaddy was the clerk recorder of Edgefield County for 40 years.
Is that right?
And he had many pieces and they split up among family members.
Well, that's-
Now, and I just got
We
4.
don't think it's that.
Bar none across this earth right here. There's none more valuable than the Edgefield pottery today. Okay, it's just in demand from Canada to
Well, let me
South
put it
Florida.
I want your opinion on it.
Okay,
Um,
right. Anybody else?
Where is this place?
Is anybody gonna go to sleep on me in here?
Where is this place in Macon that he's talking about?
It's the park. Did you read what about it? I didn't even read it yet.
Just for like a day?
Central.
Don't be on this way the whole week. Anybody? Anybody else? Robin, you been mighty quiet. You ain't said a word. All right. Thank you.
You can tell he's done an awful lot of work on this in the last, whenever, since he agreed to do this program even. There being no further business, unless someone has something else, we shall stand adjourned.
Y'all welcome to look at anything in here. I'll be around there answering any questions.
I may have to stay here very carefully.